Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Bill Harloff, Florida native, but currently in North Carolina, Raleigh for a drag racing event. How interesting. Bill, welcome to the show.
Dylan, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really humbled and honored that you'd have someone like me on your show. Thanks.
I have to say, and I've said this to many of the guests that I've had from Florida, I'm jealous. Are you a Florida native your whole life, or how did you end up in Florida? I know you're in North Carolina now, but how did you end up in Florida?
Really simple. I would frequent there quite often in the panhandle of Florida, which would be Panama City Beach, West End. And just one morning I was walking the beach at about 6 in the morning, and Dylan, I was watching that sunrise, and the water was just so calm and peaceful. And I had a son. My son is 36. I called my son up over a decade ago, and I said, "Son, it's your dad." I said, "Do you mind if your dad moves here?" He said, "Heck no, Dad." He said, "If I were you, I'd be there." I literally, within 2 weeks, went back to North Carolina, packed my stuff up, and was down at the beach. That was it.
Wow. North Carolina and Florida. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those places. But let's start at the top. And I like to get folks' background because it kind of paints a picture of how people build a career in real estate. Was real estate in your blood? How did you initially get into the real estate space?
Very good question. Dylan, I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you're aware, but I've actually been a contractor for about 38 years. I've actually loved building, so 13 years old building. But what happened with me is I had such a passion to build. I grew an enormous framing company, plus 150 employees. And I'm not saying that to impress you, but impress upon you. It wasn't working. It wasn't designed to create the life that I had dreamt about living. It was almost like a death sentence, working 4 in the morning, running 14, 15 framing crews. When that house was done, I had to go find another one to build. It was almost like a vicious cycle. And it was all linear income. And then when I spent the money, I had to go out and do something else. One day on the way home, I saw this little sign on the road. It said something about a house and I have money or something like that. I wound up calling this guy up.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I said, "Listen, I don't know what you're doing, but I've seen these shows, Carlton Sheets and on TV back in the day, And I said, are you one of those guys? He says, I am. I said, I'll fix anything you have, anything that you need on a residential and or commercial building, if you teach me what you know. And that one guy taught me that one thing that changed my life forever. And that was how I began my journey in the real estate investing world a little bit better than almost 40 years ago.
How old were you at the time when you made that connection?
I was in my 20s because all I knew was this. What I was doing wasn't working, although I had a passion to build. I knew nothing else. I knew to wake up, go to work hard 6 days a week, and kind of recuperate on Sunday and go back to the vicious cycle. Nobody ever taught me how to make, keep, and multiply money, how to actually buy houses without using a dime of my own money. I mean, nobody ever shared this with me, Dylan. So my journey was very, very unique, is because I actually went through the trenches of flipping houses. I actually knew what to do and how to do it. I also had a passion, burning like yourself. I love that about you. I really do. Is you have a passion to be with people and help people. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about what can we do to deliver help for today and hope for tomorrow for that one person, just that one that doesn't believe that he or she can do it. And son, I'm here today to tell you, if there's anybody that can do it, if I could do it, anybody watching this podcast, if you've got doubt, negativity, fear, anxiety, an identity crisis issue, get over it. You can do this. Just fear is nothing more than false evidence that appears real, right?
Yep.
So, I remember telling my own family, Dylan, I told my own family, I'm going to be a real estate investor, a multi-millionaire one day. And you know what? We have a tight family. My brother put his arm around me. He said, good luck with that thing, bro. He said, good luck. And I remember I used to collect my shut-up checks, my little assignment of contract fees for $2,000 or $2,500. And one thing led to another, and it just went from there until I created a company actually back in early 2000s called I Buy Houses. That I don't own no more. I don't have the rights to it. But you also, I know you, Dylan. I know you attend RIA. I also am a proud founder of the RIA group in North Raleigh Hilton in Raleigh, North Carolina. About 20 plus years ago, me and two men sat down in that very grand ballroom at the North Raleigh Hilton, and we said we need to start some sort of an investor group here. And Richard was a hard money lender, and actually Jacqueline was there. She was a realtor. And I was a private investor. So we said, hey, listen, let's just start with who's got what. Invite all your real estate agent friends. I'll invite a few of my buddies that have money. Richard, you do that. But I'll invite some other investors here that are bird dogs and, things of that nature. This is 20 plus years ago. So that's how I really evolved. And of course, when you're blessed with time freedom and you're blessed with paying your dues and the reward is financial independence, I went to Land Beach for a number of years. And what I can tell you is there is not there. So when you think you're there, money does not do anything to you except make you more who you are. If you're a drunk, you're just going to probably drink better liquor. But if you're a heart of gold like yourself, Dylan, who just loves to give and give and give, it's scriptural. Too much is given, Dylan. Much is required. So that's my background. That's my story. I'm actively mentoring people right now on my coaching program, my 12 weeks to close. And I'm actually working today. I'm working 3 deals in the real estate investing world without using the traditional banks, lending institutions, having to abide by their guidelines, meeting their beacon scores.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
No disrespect, but that was the old way of buying real estate.
It is.
I completely revamped all of that stuff. A lot of people have now, and created true time freedom for themselves and their families. And that's living off of the assets that they create to pay their
Yeah.
daily expense with.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, look, post Dodd-Frank, most even college graduates 5 years out, even 10 years out, can't qualify for homes in the East Coast in many cases. I'm from New Jersey. I'm living in Texas. And even in Texas, it's getting harder. So, creative financing and, purchasing homes with limited to no money down. These are going to, DSCR loans for multifamily and commercial. These are going to be more and more popular. But I wanted to ask you about RIA and Bandit signs, because these have been huge in my life, like life changing. So a little bit over 2 years ago, well, actually, no, 2 years ago to the day, May of 2023, I was working at a Nissan dealership in San Antonio. Did not know anybody in real estate. I have no distant family that's in real estate. I didn't know anything. I'm in Texas, so we have TREC promulgated forms. I couldn't tell you a single thing about any paragraph in a TREC form. I couldn't tell you anything about what a wholesale, novation, assignable contract, hard money. I knew nothing. All I knew was I'm working these 12-hour days and I'm making a little bit of progress, saving a little bit of money, but real estate keeps going up in San Antonio at the time. I don't know how I'm going to buy a house. What am I going to do? And I also didn't really feel super passionate about selling cars and just scaling in that business, maybe being a GM one day. Well, I wasn't passionate about it. So my entry point into real estate, Bill, was through a RIA. And I can hear the passion and the emotion in your voice, and I feel the same way. I've heard mixed things about RIAs from other people, but for me and for my money's worth, I will be ever and forever indebted to a RIA, because I went to an event at a hotel. At that hotel, I put a bunch of money up, which was for me like a lot of money at the time. I want to say it was like $1,700, and to me that felt like I was, taking out a loan against my house or something that I didn't have. And then I drove from San Antonio to Addison, which is a town within the Dallas area, for a 3-day event. And that event totally changed my life. And so maybe similar to you, the power of networking was just utterly incredible.
Yeah, as creatures, human beings and creatures of nature, we're in the people business. First of all, let me just back up and piggyback on something you had mentioned real quick, Dylan. You had said some people don't really think too much of the RIA groups. And here's what my past experience is, my rebuttal with that would be. Just remember this. The more that you think you know, the more you should realize how much you just don't know. And oftentimes when we as entrepreneurs go through our journey, oftentimes you run into people that have egos, right? And it's usually the ego versus the spirit. I don't need them. I'm blah, 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 blah. That's wrong. Don't be that person. You absolutely need as much resource as you can possibly get, because the way you live is determined by the people that you allow really in your geography, in your proximity. So if you show me someone's library and the books that they read, I'll share with you probably their future. I can about predict someone's future by their daily routine, lies in their daily habits. And so as far as the RIA group, it is a phenomenal. Any client that comes through my mentorship is going to be involved in their local RIA group for many, many reasons. And then you had mentioned the Bandit signs.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe I was one of the first guys that really created a Bandit sign with a horizontal flues versus vertical flues, and what should you use, and how much should you be paying, and where do you get them from? Bandit signs, banditsigns.com. I believe that's what the website was, Dylan, banditsigns.com. I get these things that, for me, they're $1 a piece. They're the 24. They're $1 a piece. That's what I get these things for. So I buy obviously 1,000 at a clip. They come in 10 boxes and a couple boxes. I don't know, but
Bandit signs changed my life, Bill. Bandit signs changed my life.
Here's, buddy, this is why, Dylan. This is why I buy how signs work. Okay, we're in the people business. People have to feel like, one, they're embarrassed. Usually when someone calls that sign, they're either behind on their house note, They need immediate relief, right? As a matter of fact, I've got this on the back of my business card, as you can probably see. Get relief. They're behind on payments. I hate to say this, but the chances are they might be going through a financial relationship challenge.
Yeah.
And so they'd much rather call this number on the sign and then deal with an agent and make it public. Oh, yeah, I'm 4 months beyond my house note. My husband and I are going through a divorce. So this is exactly why the Bandit signs are one of the...
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Keys to creating and gathering motivated sellers and tenant buyers. And I'm going to throw the tip for people out there. If you need to locate a tenant buyer, right, you want to create your rent to own signs. This way, when you lock up the property under contract, you already have a tenant buyer lined up in that particular zip code. And this is called my cashless home buying secrets. Okay, this is without using a dollar of your own money. I mean, I'm pulling up on a goddamn screen and show it to people across America. Their jaws drop. How do you do that? Is that legal? Well, of course it's legal. If it wasn't illegal, I wouldn't be doing it. You can talk to me about a deed of trust state, which is North Carolina, or a mortgage state, which is Florida. Deed of trust attorney, 3 parties involved, lender, borrower, trustee, or a title company in a mortgage state. We have multiple. We use the 7-rule strategy where we have 7 ways to attract motivated sellers. But Dylan, real quick, before you attract a motivated seller, you've got to really establish yourself as an investor. And that's a whole separate. That's why my course is so effective. It's the 12 weeks to close. It's broken up into 7 segments, 7 sections. And real quick, not to brag on anything, but why do 99.9% of my students, matter of fact, some of my students, you have seen on social media, and you see them on social media to this day. It's because first of all, they get conflicting information. They don't know who to believe. It's a scam. It's this. It's that. People need a direct plan, A to B, how to get there with no deviation. And when you have how to establish yourself as an investor, how do you locate motivated sellers and tenant buyers, then you have to have a world-class winning business plan if you want to attract venture capital from someone like me. I'd be more than happy to lend you as much money as you want. Just the interest rate, the terms are going to be on, how I'm going to structure the deal. Then we have the assignment of contract. That's week 4. I have to get cash in someone's pocket, Dylan, and so people don't want to wait for a check. By 30 days, I got to get them a check. And then, of course, I was a short sale expert with a learning annex. There's nobody that knows loss mitigation better than I do. There's another case sitting right in front of me, loss mit short sale deal. And then, of course, they don't even know how to do a subject to deal. Really and truly, they don't know how to exercise the sub to deal. It's not a home settlement statement. The only challenge or gray area with that, son, would be a due on sale clause. Now, the due on sale clause is in every loan. 99.999% says if this loan is to be transferred, written permission and consent is needed from the lender. I submit to you, I've been doing this for 30 years. What lender is going to call a note payable and due in full when the loan is current? They don't. Now, there was an error in time back when the economy busted in 07, 08, where I personally had a couple notes called payable and due in full. And of course you pay them, or make sure you have the resources to pay them. But
Sure.
I think I got a little off track there, but I get excited because I love helping people like you, Dylan. It's inspiring to me. I get excited. You don't.
How did you come up? How did you come? So The truly, it's an honor to talk to you because the Bandit signs, Rhea too, but the Bandit signs had a profound and still had a profound effect on my life. Not just realizing that they work, but also the act of it was almost like a spiritual thing for me, Bill. But this is before I was a realtor. Putting these Bandit signs in the ground, I felt like it was like guerrilla networking, like it was some type of code that I was breaking, and then getting calls and like finding investors, and then I speak Spanish. So now I'm like doing the calls in Spanish and writing the signs in Spanish, and I'm like I'm like
So proud of
almost
you. So proud of you. Good
I'm like
job.
I can't believe this. How did you come up with the Bandit sign idea? How did you come up with it?
Back in the day, when 1996, 96 or something, I'm getting old now, and I might be off a year or two, but it was 96 or 97 when I met this guy, Gene. Gene is the one that changed my life. He's on all my books. He's on any show that I wrote, asked to be on. I always give all the credit to Gene because Gene was worth enormous amounts of money, but you would never know it. Gene was one of those 70-year-old guys back in the day. But he had all this scribble on there that captivated me sitting at a traffic light about a house. And I looked at it and I said, you're paying someone for house repairs or you're looking for someone? What do you mean by all this scribble on your sign? And he says, no, I pay cash for houses. I'm a real estate investor. I buy them, I fix them, and I sell them. I said, well, you buy houses? He says, yeah. So I went immediately online at sunbiz.org, or I don't know where I was in Florida, and I bought the LLC, bought that name. I copied and trademarked the name I Buy Houses. Then I called up a local company, and they charged me like $6 for a sign. I'm like, well, I can't pay $6. I need to be putting thousands of these things out. And so anyway, that's how it started to evolve. And then, of course, a decade ago, I sold that brand. I sold everything that I had and to go live a life of time freedom. And that's there's not there either, Dylan. So when you think you're there, you're not there, son. There's always another step. There's always another calling upon your life to either help, inspire, be with somebody, just be a good listener, or really and truly for those that want a radical, and I mean a radical change movement in their life, something that's been through the road, been mentored by the Tony Robbins mastery groups, Ron LeGrand. I've been to these guys' boot camps, all of them. So I know that's why I, back in the day, created my 12 Weeks to Close, because always they wanted to sell me another course. Valuable information was omitted either intentionally or the author assumed that I knew the answers. That's how that 12 Weeks to Close program came into play. And when we first put it into play, we were in almost like not disbelief, but they can't advance to course 2 until the assignments into action are done on course 1. And so I know that they have the information. They know what to do with those I Buy Houses signs. What do you actually say when someone calls your Bandit sign, say, hey, listen, Dylan, I just saw your sign. How do you do this? The people, then the phone becomes like electrifying. They don't know what to say. So they need to be mentored and coached on what to say. And you got to have a property specification survey form with you to gather as much information specific to their callback number and find out the pain points. Find out what the pain is. And when you solve the problem, believe me, they will build trust and rapport with you versus the other investor that pops up, and all they are is another dollar assigned to them. So
at this
care
point
about people.
At this point in time, the inception of this is truly interesting to me because I feel like that's where I'm at in life, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. When you're coming up with this idea that you're going to do a lot of these signs, you're going to do it in a way that really no one else is doing it. And you're going to have distressed people of all, you have divorce, you have financial, you have the homes in distress, you have fire damage, you have probate, everything, right? What was the idea in your head that it was going to look like in 5 to 10 years? Or was it like, hey, we're just going to do this right now and we're going to see how this goes for a couple of months?
That's a really highly intelligent question, especially the way you laid it out. Pushing hard as hard as you can, hoping
Yeah.
that you're going to scale a business as big as you can get it, is not the right way to go about it. Let me share with you why. One, you have to what's called set standards, not goals. You will always fail yourself on goals. You set a standard, and then I can tell you, if you want a healthy business, I can actually factually tell you with data and science, because data and science does not lie. If you want to be a full-time, like myself, real estate investor, time freedom, wake up when you're done sleeping, your revenue per employee needs to be $350,000 bare minimum per employee for a healthy business. And you want to get that to about $500,000 annually per employee. Now you're saying, Bill, believe me, that is the science and data behind a healthy business. So if you have a business that's doing $1 million annually in revenue, but you have 10 employees, that's not good. You're at a break point, and there's different break points in scaling businesses. And that's a whole other podcast I would love to have with you, because then that's going to open up the doors, pull back the curtains to where the wealthy keep their money, and it's not in the banks. It's in the foreign exchange. It's because everything's based on the rule of 72 and multiplication of dollars. And how is one person up here and the other's here? Well, this person here has figured out how to multiply that dollar at a higher interest rate or rate of return than the person who puts their money in the bank and hopes to goodness in 1,200 years the dollar makes 2 at 0.1% return.
Were you thinking about money this way your whole life, or was there like an aha moment? For me, it's actually a connection that I made. A buddy of mine had said to me, you know, he said, you're bad at asset management. I was like, what do you mean? I'm living below my means. I'm doing this. He's like, what's up with that car you're driving? And I still have a 2018 Dodge Challenger RT. I was proud of the car. He's like, is that car making you money? And I'm like, no. He's like, do you feel like you're doing well? Are you like rich? Do you have a bunch of deeds in your name or an LLC that you own? I was like, no. So then he was like, that's bad asset management. And I was like, here I was in my American mind thinking like I needed to have this car. And then I started to look at things differently. And I was like, man, maybe this car wasn't the greatest, use of $40,000. And so it seems like you had this maybe a shift at some point as far as being an asset manager. Was there a point in time that happened for you?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for asking. And yes, it was clear as day. And if I may, let me just grab this here for you real quick. So what happens is when you become in a position where you have usually more than enough, right? At least you think you do. You really have to understand money, and money is just a tool. And if you don't understand how money works, and you shouldn't, because they never taught you in school, and I'm sure you've got remarkable people around you, but if they don't understand money, and this is where my journey took a turn, is because when I had to, I couldn't count on anybody.
Yeah.
I couldn't, so I had to know it myself. So yes, I did. You're looking at this high school dropout that had to go get educated on how money works, truly. How money works. My buddy right here is the author of this book, and it's the #1 best-selling book in North America since the pandemic year on teaching you the 7 money milestones of how money works. Now, for you, Dylan, you don't have to pay anything for this book. This book is yours. You're just going to send me your mailing address, and I'm going to write you something in this book. Because if you don't understand the rule of 72 right there, you will either learn the basics of financial literacy, or you'll succumb to it and live a life of financial torment.
Yeah,
because
no question.
What happens in life is 9 out of 10 times people go through this series of things in their life, and they're always, most of the time, tormented by the ravaging forces of finance. So it's just one of those things. People say, money doesn't buy happiness, and I say, no, it doesn't. But I tell you, it ranks right up there with oxygen. You kind of need it to live. You're right. And if you really want to live biblical principles, I have a website out called Captured by the Cause. It's just a biblical kind of, the system's broken. But Jesus was a businessman. Jesus knew how to keep and multiply money at a very high level. See, the cash flow pattern of the poor is that they trade their time for that linear income. They work Monday through Friday. They get paid on Friday. And by Monday, the vicious cycle is back. And so the middle class is more the same. But the cash flow pattern of the wealthy, what we do is take that revenue and buy assets, and those assets become producing cash flow, and that's what we use to pay our daily needs or expense. So it's a whole different mindset.
Inflation is appreciation. That was a mind trip for me. Inflation is appreciation. So being on the outside looking in, I had wanted to get into real estate because I was trying to buy a house. Like that was really, I was like, I don't know how to get a house. It seems like I need to make a bunch of money. How do there's this other creative way to do it. But now that I've been in it, I see, inflation actually typically benefits people who own real estate. And so if you own the real estate, it's not a bad thing. It's appreciation for you. Now, if you're on the flip side, it's like this thing people say, when was the best time to buy a house? 5 years ago. When's the next best time? Right now.
Today.
What's the odds that it's going to be lower in 5 years? Probably not a lot. Not a lot.
Look, I hear that Jersey accent come out of you. By the way, I was born and raised in Jersey City.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Okay, I'm from the Caldwells, yeah. So we're not very far from each other. Montclair, Hoboken area, I tell people I miss the town.
City, Hoboken, right there.
Amen,
so look at this, man. Real quick, a statistic, but not by me, but by the U.S. labor statistics, that by age 65, this is for people that might be listening to your podcast, and I want to deliver a little bit of hope for you today that you don't need to be one of these statistics. And according to the U.S. labor statistics, and I'm not reading this is verbatim here, that by age 65, please listen to me, 54% of people are flat broke. Write that number down. 54% are broke. The other 41% are having to go out there and create a secondary stream of income. If you add those two numbers together, Dylan, that's 95% do not have adequate retirement by age 65. And I submit to you this, for those of you that are listening to this incredible podcast by Dylan today, it's not your fault. It truly is not your fault. You were probably pretty much taught, like all of us were, right? To go to school, get a job, save our money, put in a 401k plan. But we find out that that's not the vehicle that's transporting us to where we really want to live a life of significance, right? To give more than, enough. And so that leads us to have to be creative. And I tell you, there's no better way to create wealth with appreciation, depreciation. In my life, I know nothing else but to creatively structure real estate investing deals. I am not a licensed agent. I never aspired to be a licensed real estate agent. What I did do is commit and set a standard for the highest of integrity, ethics, and character within my industry and field, and to have exactly what I say I have is the most, without a doubt, detail-oriented, step-by-step course that exists in the marketplace today to take the average person, you just take Joe over here, and in 12 weeks, under my leadership, and yes, you will have access to me and my REI coach, me, once a month for 1 hour, so it's a 4-hour deal with me, and I guarantee they will do a job. I guarantee they'll do a deal. That's my unconditional guarantee. That's how, it's not cocky either, Dalen. It's just confidence in knowing the strategies and techniques to attract tenant buyers, to attract motivated sellers. What's a motivated seller? That's one that's obviously driven into action for a specific reason. And then when you have them contacting you, and you're not just waiting around for someone to call on your 40 Bandit signs that you put out Saturday morning, you got tired and quit. it makes life much easier when you have, as I said, seven. There's always seven. There's seven hard money lenders. There's seven ways to gather loyal customers. There's seven ways to actually locate motivated sellers and tenant buyers. And when you implement all of them and you set things up systematically, you then and only then are running a real business. And most of the time, if you treat it like a real business, it will pay you like a real business. So I was very aggressive my entire career because I love helping people. And I could never, they were just houses to me. At my peak, we had 111 rental houses, which nothing more than $61,000 a month in bills. So I really don't aspire to become a landlord to tenants and toilets anymore. Been there, done that. And then, then you just look at other ways to multiply that cash. And that's what prompted me to go to the Department of Financial Service and take my financial exam. And yes, I know this is public information. And yes, I'm proud to tell you, I failed it twice before I finally nailed it the third time. But when I nailed it, I knew that material inside and out. So, so you fail your way to success, man. Failure is just a way to success. There's an old saying. I don't know if you know this guy, but his name was Brian Tracy. It might have been before your time. But having the ability, you'll enjoy this one, Dylan, it's really quick. Having the ability to delay gratification in the short term in order to enjoy greater rewards in the long term is the indispensable prerequisite for success. See, everybody's in that, I need it now, I need it now, I need it now, but they're not willing to pay the price. They want that instant gratification.
Yep.
People don't become a doctor in 4 weeks or 12 weeks. It takes them 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 2 years of internship. It is a process. So when if I may, what you get with the 12 weeks to close program is myself as well. It's just who I am. I know it's sounds crazy. I didn't come on here to even talk about that. It's because right now we've got a remarkable client base, and I really love helping people. I really do. And I'm a result-driven, standard kind of guy. You set standards. Remember, I shared that with you today, son. You set standards and don't settle. Don't you ever settle now. And remember, don't be that one that delays gratification. Make things happen. Make sure you put yourself in the geography of successful, highly entrepreneurial type people, because there needs to be a shift, a sudden shift in your mind where things are no longer acceptable to you. That standard of living is no longer acceptable to you. So when you say, I am, and step into I am, going to make $20,000 every single month for the rest of my life, minimum, in real estate investing. So how do you do that? Well, it's really simple. It's very simple. You just begin with the end in mind. So I know at the end of 30 days, begin with the end in mind and then structure your days to day one. And I don't care how many dials for dollars you got to do. I don't care how many Bandit signs you got to put out. I don't care how many seller solution forms you need to put out. I don't care how many Craigslist ads, marketplace, sponsored links. I don't care. Just do it. And you make that happen, and you put the pressure on yourself. See, people tend to do things when they become uncomfortable. So when you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's where growth occurs. It's almost like fertilizer. It stinks, but it facilitates growth.
Bill, we are coming up on time here. I could probably chat to you about so many different things here, but definitely about specifically the being around successful entrepreneurial people. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking at moving to Florida, actually, is because I just see all these young hustlers who are in the real estate space, and I say, man, I like Dallas, but maybe I should go take a look at Florida. But I digress here, Bill. I do want to ask, where can folks go to get a hold of you or to reach out to you?
I said to myself 2 years ago when I went back out into the public face, right? I said, I'm not doing social media. I want to live my life with humility and be so thankful every single day to what God has deposited in my life. And so I'm, in a way, reluctant, but here's what I do for you. And I do this very limited because a lot of people are wanting me to just go crazy again on social media, which I'm back and forth. I've got some copy people. I've got Facebook campaign people again. So 12 weeks to close at gmail.com. 12 weeks to close at gmail.com. And no, I'm not getting back into we have the info and all that other stuff, but I don't need to get in that on your show. I'm just so humble that you asked me to come on, join you today. And you inspire me, man. You deliver, you're a fireball. I love it because I know you got to just trust me on this. Wealth is created in 5 years or less. When they told me that, I didn't believe them. I said, there's no way that can ever happen to me. There's no way. And I'm here to share with you. I'm a walking, talking miracle, son. God made a miracle out of a mess in me. And I tell you, my calling is the real estate industry. My calling is to share and show people how money works. The rule of 72. The 7 money milestones, a financial education, an emergency fund, protect your wealth, create wealth. This is who I've evolved into. And I'm so humbled. I'm so thankful. And I love people that want better. All you got to do is just want better. If you want better, reach out to either Dylan or myself. We will help you if you want to help yourself.
Bill, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, you made my day. This is one of the best podcasts that I've ever done. And it was so inspirational to hear your story, especially because I'm passionate about networking, RIAs, and personally, Bandit signs changed my life. I really wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Bandit signs. So it's pretty darn cool to talk to the effective creator of Bandit signs. Bill, thank you for hopping on here.
Thank you so much for having me, Dylan. And I just want to leave you with this, and I mean this from the depths of my being. I want you to look at me in the face now. Many are called, many are invited, yet few were chosen. You were chosen, Dylan. I wish you nothing but the very, very best, and I look forward to hearing from you soon in the future.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for being on here today.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.